Today is May 21st, 2026, and today is my 2-year anniversary of being diagnosed with runner's dystonia. So I felt it was important to make a video today because, man, I just wish I could go tell my old self, my 2 years ago self, what I know now about runner's dystonia. Man, it would have made things a lot easier. It still would have been hard, but wow. So can't do that, can't time travel, but I can tell you who might be in that really dark, hard, horrible place what I know now and what really is going to help you actually recover from runner's dystonia, not just manage or try not to get worse. What will actually help you recover from runner's dystonia. But wait, hold up. I just filmed that whole thing and forgot to say, this is not medical advice. I am not your medical provider. This is my opinion only. So please do seek advice from your own personal medical providers when deciding on your medical care and treatment. Now, that out of the way, let's begin. So here we are in my favorite cemetery where I did a lot of my early videos for this channel. A lot of them which I have privated now because there was some misinformation maybe then that I kind of feel because I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better back then, and I was still so early in everything. I started making my first videos in September of 2024, and so I had only been diagnosed for 4 months. So I didn't really know a lot. I, of course, had a lot of information that had been thrown at me from providers and, the internet and stuff like that, but not what I know now. Not what I know now. So we got to get into it seriously because I'm sure that 99% of the people out there, I know that 99% of the people out there who have runner's dystonia, do not know, what the actual cause is of runner's dystonia. And when I made my first videos on this channel, one of them, I made 3 of them. And one of them was my story of how I developed runner's dystonia. And then I think the other one was what I did for Botox. But the third one was why I made this channel. And originally why I made this channel was to spread hope that you can recover from runner's dystonia. But of course back then I didn't really know what the appropriate recovery was. I was just going by what I had read on the internet and what my providers had told me, even though they had no idea what they were doing either. So I guess that's still the goal of this channel, even though nobody really cares. And I guess I've become a controversial figure, maybe, because people don't want to hear my videos. But hey, that's on you. If you actually want to recover from runner's dystonia, and yes, I'm being saucy today because this is my therapy today. This is my 2-year anniversary of all the bullshit that I've been through. Stick with the video, man. Open your mind to at least the possibility that what you've been doing is not right. And it sucks because I know you've been doing it for 10 years or 5 years or maybe even not that long. Maybe you're just new to this whole thing, but it sucks to do something wrong for so long. I only had 1 year of doing it wrong before I started to do it right. So even that felt bad enough, to be honest. So I'm not monetized. I got 91 subscribers, and most of them are dead subscribers because they were my friends to support my channel when it first started. So I have no skin in the game for you watching this entire video. You have skin in the game because you're suffering right now, and you're probably going to continue to suffer unless you change what you're doing to recover. So watch it to the end, man. That's all I got to say for you. And I got my manifesto today because I wanted to make sure that I got all my points across. And you know what? There's a lot of stuff I'm missing because there's just so much to this that you just can't encompass in a YouTube video. And I'm literally making a whole other channel about it. So to be continued. I already have at least 100 video ideas for that one. So today, also because my teleprompter is already at my new house, which is in another state, I'm gonna read. I will add my spicy commentary in, I'm sure, as we go. So Forgive me for the reading. Forgive me for the freaking leaf blowers, for the helicopter, for the cars that are going to drive on the dirt road over there, for the wind. We're just going to do the best that we can today. So just listen. You know what? Just listen. You don't need to watch the video. Just go on a walk, because I know you can. Put your headphones in. Listen to it. I know it would be worth your while. I also don't have my appropriate tripod. That's also at my new house already, because I didn't think I'd be really filming before next month, but it's all down there. I'll be there next month and I'll have better equipment. Okay, here we go. So technically, I wasn't actually diagnosed with runner's dystonia 2 years ago. I'm not going to rehash the story of like how it happened to me and all like the different medical providers that I saw and all the different tests that I had, but like I finally got to a movement disorder specialist who like looked at me like I was crazy and confused. Like the person who should know what's going on with me like was probably the most like confused by it. And he basically said that my foot surgery was botched. But by the end of the appointment, he was like, okay, I guess since it's acting like a dystonia, we're gonna treat it like a dystonia, and, you know, suggested Botox. And to be honest, before I even saw this guy, like somebody in one of my like regular running groups was like, I think that you have runner's dystonia. Like you should check out the Facebook group for runner's dystonia. And so I learned all about it and like, I don't know, looked at the Let's Run thread and probably read it and like a whole bunch of other things. And so I think I like convinced him of it. Like, I don't know, like I pushed him to that because I wanted a diagnosis, because a diagnosis meant an answer. And I had not had answers for so long because it had been such like a terrifying like 4 to 6 weeks. And I was like, this means like I have a diagnosis and then like there can be treatment for it, right? Like I did not have a good experience with that movement disorder specialist, like I said in other videos, but at the same time, he was kind of like already seeing through the bullshit. He was like, okay, this can't be a true dystonia if, one, you can kind of control it, and two, if you were seeing improvement with your walking by just practicing walking, both of which were true at the time. And he legit said, if this were a true dystonia, you would be breaking bones. Like forcing myself to walk and force my foot to go in the appropriate way, like I'd be breaking bones. And I don't know, like, but I just kept being like, but there's something wrong with me. Like this is my ankle. This is like not my toe where my foot surgery was. So like he literally was just like, whatever, and let's like get the prior authorization for the Botox. And I was like, cool. Jesus. And guess what? He did completely the wrong muscle. He did completely the wrong muscle. I had to private my video. I think I did. I hope I did over that. And he did a really, really big dose. Yet I still improved somehow. So take with that what you will. I don't know, but you just draw your own conclusions about that. That's a whole other video. So, but before I move forward, I will add another sensible thing that like the first sports medicine doctor that I ever saw said, and I wish I had listened to and like I had taken to heart, like even more than he meant it, like really taken it to heart and like really thought about it and listened to that and like internalized that. He said, there's nothing wrong with you. Start walking. You are making yourself worse. And I thought he was crazy. Like, I thought he was so crazy. I was like, really, what? Really, what? And he was so freaking right. Like, he didn't know why he was right, but he was right. Ugh. Anyway, for basically a year, I continued to believe that I had runner's dystonia and that it was a chronic, incurable neurological disorder that was based on faulty brain circuits. I got into the community and I internalized all the lies about what may have caused it, even though, like, no one had a really great answer for that. Like you ran too much, or like people ran on injuries and developed runner's dystonia, or like whatever the hell, all not true. Like if that were true, like we would see a correlation of like everybody who was like an ultra marathoner would have runner's dystonia. Like there would just be like, if you ran too much, like there would just be like the correlation of that. And two, like same with people who run on injuries, like I don't know, this is gonna be like a dick thing to say, but all the people that are doing the dopey challenge at Disney World, I mean, I haven't done it, so props to you, but like the people who've literally never done a 5K that like sign up for dopey, those people break themselves over the weekend, okay? Like maybe people have some amazing training plans and like get their act together, and I know people do, A lot of people's first marathons is dopey, but like people who are maybe like underprepared, even for like a couch to 5K, like might screw something up. And so like, are they gonna get runner's dystonia for like just doing like a race that they maybe weren't prepared for and injuring themselves? No. So both of that, whatever, dude, that's just crap. Whatever. I've never had a good reason for it. I'm sure you haven't either. Why it happened, but well, I have heard a good reason for it. That's at the end of the video, but not a real good reason by a medical provider or anybody who's in the traditional runner's dystonia community. I internalized this belief that my brain was broken and I could not be fixed because there was some neurocircuitry that had gone awry. But like no one could explain to me like why my symptoms did like not make sense and how variable they were and how much they changed. And certainly like the extreme severe onset of them that was in an instant. Like nobody could tell me why my symptoms like would get better with more time during an activity. In fact, they told me it should be the opposite. And there was early on, like I would notice like the more that I walked, like the better that I would feel. Or I would feel better if I had a beer. The first time I noticed that was in June. And like, I don't normally drink and like go on a walk. Like usually if I'm having a drink, I'm like having a drink and like watching Survivor like I did last night. And then going to bed. But I was on vacation, so I went to dinner and went to a brewery and had a beer, and my dog was with me, and I went for a walk with my dog, and I was like, oh my God, like I can almost walk normal. But anyway, back to the time thing, like the longer that I walked, like my walking would be better every mile. So if I walked a 5K, like the first mile would be slower than the second mile, which was slower than the third mile. And no one could tell me, like, because this started with the running too, usually the longer I go, the better the symptoms are, but there'd be this weird period of time from like 2 to 6 minutes that like I'd start okay, and then like my ankle would freak out and I'd start having symptoms, and if I just like kept with it through minute 6, it would like get better again. Like no one could ever explain that crap, and that doesn't even happen anymore. And I know why it doesn't happen. It's because I'm not afraid of that like 4-minute window anymore, and I've ran so much that I've just like gotten through it and gotten over it just with continued exposure. More of that stuff at the end. Like if I had this faulty neurocircuit and didn't know how to run anymore, wouldn't it always be like not this insane variability between minutes or even seconds when I just got out of my own way and relaxed a little bit? All right, boyfriend with the leaf blower like literally just came all the way up to me, and he's like still there. Oh, it's really annoying. So this video is gonna be messed up because I don't really remember where I stopped when it got intolerably loud. So forgive me if I'm repeating some information, but you should probably hear this information repeated. So let's see, where was I? Okay. I believed all the shit about certain surfaces being harder because there was a lack of sensory information that was being sent to your brain. I believed that running in a straight line was going to be the hardest thing to do. And you know what? I still think of that every time I run in a straight line. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that guy said that. Come on. All the stupid sensory tricks that people talk about. All the people who said, oh, that treatment or sensory trick or whatever it might be worked for me for a while, but your brain is going to find a way around it, and the dystonia is going to come back. And you'll be like us. I swear, every time I posted like a successful walk or run, like there was always somebody being like, it's not going to last. And guess what? Those people are right, because it won't last. It won't last because you're treating the wrong thing. If you keep treating the wrong cause of your runner's dystonia, guess what? You're gonna continue to have runner's dystonia. And if you keep believing that you have an incurable neurological disorder that you will never overcome and that you can only manage and just pray that it doesn't get worse, guess what the is gonna happen? Guess what is gonna happen if you keep talking to other people with runner's dystonia and say like, oh, I'm gonna try this new medication, and they come back and say, oh, that didn't work for me, it's not gonna work for you. Of course it's not gonna work. Like, you just noceboed me, man. God, like, do people in like cancer like support groups treat each other this way? Like, I always wondered that. Like, don't try that chemo. That didn't work for me and I'm gonna die tomorrow. Like, do people say that to each other in other groups? Like, dude, we got some personalities. Like, I know I'm a personality, I have strong beliefs, but like, I have all the hope for you and I want everybody to recover from this. I don't want to drag people down into the ditch. Like, even if I had like a huge flare up tomorrow and I really could never run again or walk again, like that doesn't mean that I want other people to fail. What the f*** is wrong with people, dude? You know who you are. You're not watching. Actually, you're not watching. They're not watching at all. You've been noceboed 1,000 times by other people with runner's dystonia, because that's a nocebo when somebody tells you you have a chronic incurable diagnosis and then you end up living that diagnosis, or somebody tells you that a treatment won't work for you. It won't work for you because of your belief. and nocebo by providers who don't even know much about it and have limited treatment options, even though they're trying to help. Like, I do believe that providers are trying to help. Like, I just think they're misinformed and they just don't have the knowledge. They weren't taught about it in school. Like, I'm not against any medical providers for runner's dystonia. They really are truly trying to help. So yeah, of course, you're not going to recover if you go along this path. So what is the right path? Well, fortunately, after a year of believing that I had a chronic incurable medical condition where I was and would never be normal again, I discovered the concept of neuroplastic symptoms, which can be called mind-body disorder or Mindbody Syndrome. Historically, it was called Myositis Syndrome. People can have real bodily symptoms. I want to stress this. They're real. They're real symptoms. Your dystonia is real. It's happening. People can see it usually, or you can just have the feeling of it too. So people can have real bodily symptoms, whether it's pain, stomach issues, migraines, chronic fatigue, bladder symptoms, itching and hives. Oh my God, there's so many of them. And yes, even dystonia that is caused by your brain when there is nothing actually physically wrong with you. Let's keep going. So everyone can relate to, I have a headache because my boss was a dick today, or my stomach is upset because I'm nervous. I think most people know now too, like you can get, say, hives from anxiety. Like usually somebody knows oh yeah, my friend kind of gets hives when she gets anxious or like panic attack or whatever. But a person with hives from anxiety is not having hives because they're like actually having an allergic reaction, right? They didn't eat something and have an allergic reaction or get exposed to something and have an allergic reaction. It's from the anxiety. And like we know that now. The person with an upset stomach who's like about to give a presentation, like didn't eat some bad food or have food poisoning if they're having like diarrhea. It's because they're anxious about the presentation. I think people acknowledge that that's a fact, that can happen. Just like the person with a headache after having a bad day, like they're not like, I'm having like some sort of stroke or like a brain injury or it's a tumor. Like we're just like, yeah, it was a rough day at work. I have a headache. I'm gonna take some ibuprofen and go to bed, right? So yeah, the brain can do anything it wants. All symptoms are experienced in the brain and can be created by the brain. Symptoms that are 100% real, symptoms that you not only feel, but in the case of dystonia, you can actually see, they are not being caused by anything structural or physical. Have I lost you? Well, if I have in the next part, well. But if you get through this and you hear what my progress has actually been, because my proof is my progress, then, oh, you'll do yourself a service by actually getting through this and like listening to the other side and just not clicking off because you think this is some woo-woo shit. These physical symptoms are caused by the brain. It can be for sort of different reasons, but really the central reason for all of it, the overarching thing, is that you have a nervous system that is highly sensitized and it's on high alert. And it is like misinterpreting the danger signals. It thinks it's in danger. It doesn't feel safe, and it causes the physical symptoms to get your attention. You can be stuck in a trauma response like fight or flight, have a highly stressful life. You could be living intensely and have an intense personality. You could be shoving in your feelings and emotions. All these things make your brain feel unsafe. Generally, this is how the symptoms start, with a trauma that can be physical or mental, like an accident, surgery, or kind of like a more traditional trauma. Or you have things in the past that you have never processed, or you do not express and process your emotions ever, or you have been operating for years going on full steam and never taking time for yourself. For me, it's being intense personality, going full steam all the time, never taking time for myself, and the surgeries were what pushed me over the edge. That was my trauma. So there may be different reasons as to why someone develops runner's dystonia, but the trauma itself of having runner's dystonia and like learning that it's virtually a mobility death sentence will perpetuate this nervous system being on high alert. And if that is not addressed and the other emotional life and personality factors are not addressed, you will never recover. Yeah. What's my proof of this? Well, let's go back to my story. After my diagnosis in May of 2024, it took until July to be able to wean myself off the ankle brace and walk pretty well again. I started running in fits and starts starting in October of that year and continued it for about 6 months through April of 2025. but it was only like 30, well, no, I know it was only 39 times because obviously I tracked that. And I think there was twice I maybe made it to 4 miles. And like a lot of them were just little fits and starts. Certainly the first 10 were. At the end of April 2025, I had a huge flare where I could not walk again at all. I still did, but it was like not good, not good. Thank God at that time I had had some knowledge of these concepts because I knew then that I could call bullshit on this symptom flare. And I threw myself into mind-body work, accepting that my runner's dystonia is a part of Mindbody Syndrome, or TMS, whatever you want to call it. My symptoms are neuroplastic and being caused by a brain stuck in fight or flight. Starting on May 1st, this is 2025, from this baseline of not being able to walk, it took me 1 month, just 1 month, until May 31st to be able to run a mile again. And it was a mile straight, and it was a mile on pavement. I never went back to trail or dirt road running again. In June, I hit a 5K, then 4 miles, and finally 5 miles, which I had not done in over a year. That was maybe the beginning of July, 5 miles, but it was on that trip to Disney, so it was like end of June, beginning of July. Whatever. That's 6 weeks, maybe 5 miles, maybe not even. Then I hit a 10K, also in July. I hit 7 and then 8 miles in August, and in November I hit 10 miles. I have a video about it. You should watch it. And in December, just 6 months later, I've made the video, but I haven't posted it yet. I ran a half marathon. That's 6 months, man. 6 months of TMS recovery from like not being able to walk to running a half marathon. What was my pace? Maybe like 8:06? Dude, not bad. Not freaking bad for being out of the game for like a year and a freaking half. God. All on pavement too. All on pavement. All on pavement. Because I'm not afraid of pavement anymore. Because that's a lie. So late last year, kind of that November, December, I started to have times where I hit my old pace. It was a fucking beastly winter here, and there was snow on the ground for 3 solid months in a row. And I ran through the whole damn thing. There was like so many running in snow with spikes runs. So many. So many. And I got so good. Like so fast at running in the snow, like better than I ever had, because I just did not quit. And I just did not I did not give up. I did not give up. I wasn't going to stop. Like snow was not going to stop me. And finally in the spring, I started consistently doing sub 7:30 minute miles, and sometimes even closer to 7-minute miles. Like I've had some really fast runs recently, just like my old pace. And just last Thursday, today is also a Thursday, I did my best half marathon ever. My best half marathon ever. I don't mean since having runner's dystonia. I mean like my best half marathon in my whole life. I think the first half marathon I ran was like 9 years ago? 10 years ago. Almost exactly 10 years ago. 1:40:36. I think it was 7:44 hour trace. I don't know. I'm gonna make a video about that too. I just haven't yet recorded it for sure. In my life, dude. So like not only can you recover from runner's dystonia, but you can be a better runner than you were before runner's dystonia. I believe that 100%. You don't have to, but you will if you listen to me. Okay. I haven't run the numbers yet, but I will on May 30th this year, because that's gonna be like a year back at running, like a solid year, no breaks. But from what I saw this morning, I think I've definitely done at least 200 runs over a year, and then I've at least done 780 miles over the course of the year. Like maybe not my typical 1,000, but whatever. I'll get there, dude. Of course I'll get there. Did I do all this by having a billion appointments with neurologists and trying all the treatments? Did I do this by doing PT or PRI? Did I do this by engaging in my dystonia education group? Did I do this by engaging with other people with runner's dystonia and talking about our shared misery? Hell no. I did this by literally quitting all of that, like running far away from all of that and doing it by myself to prove to myself and solidify my freaking resolve that runner's dystonia is not a real diagnosis. I did this all by believing that my symptoms are a part of Mindbody Syndrome / TMS, if you prefer to call it that. So sure, I'll give myself a diagnosis, but it's Mindbody Syndrome or tension myositis syndrome. Runner's dystonia is just a symptom that is caused by the brain that is highly reactive and stuck in overdrive, in fight or flight, in the trauma response, whatever you want to call it. And no, I'm not endorsing doing brain retraining or vagus nerve stimulation or any of that. Nothing needs to be fixed. Your brain is working perfectly, trying to protect you, even if it is misguided. You have just fed it the wrong information, and you have unfortunately probably not lived your life in a way that supports safety and emotional well-being. That's the shit people don't want to hear, right? That's why people click off. That's why people don't want to watch my videos. That is the thing where people feel they are being blamed for the runner's dystonia. No, you did not ask for it, okay? You did not ask for it. And everyone's individual circumstances are different, I know. But for me, I acknowledge and admit that the way that I am and the way that I have lived my life set the stage for it. We need to take some responsibility. And people don't want to hear that. People want to be fixed or cured by a medical provider. I wanted to be fixed or cured by a medical provider. Dude, I basically gave myself the diagnosis for f***'s sake, like just so I could get treatment for it, just so there could be an answer and a treatment. People want to have tangible treatments that people do to them instead of seeing that the treatment is within themselves. It's hard work and people don't want to f***ing do it. It's f***ing madness to me. Like, it's f***ing madness. Oh my God, there's gonna be so many bleeps in this video. Like, the cure is within yourself, man. The cure is in with your, like the cure is within yourself and you don't want to do it. Oh my God, because it's hard. Even though it's gonna like save your freaking life, not just get back your running, like it's gonna save your freaking life. Like, isn't our life already hard having runner's dystonia? Like, it can only go up from here. Oh, can you see I'm an intense personality? I believe it though. I believe it so intensely and it's so frustrating. Last page. The only way that you are going to recover is if you work on sending messages of safety to your brain, reacting with safety and without fear to your symptoms and your life stressors, processing your emotions, working on your past traumas, continued freaking exposure to your symptoms and facing your symptoms without fear, no matter how crappy they are, and repeating it again over and over and over. Not to retrain the brain, not to like fix the neural circuits or like overlay the already like overlaid incorrect pattern, which is like below or on top of the old correct pattern. No. To eliminate the fear and frustration and trying to fix or figure out or overly focus on the symptoms. Oh my God, the focus on the symptoms is the worst. Stop. If you take one thing from today's video, stop focusing on your symptoms, stop talking about your symptoms. Doesn't really matter like what foot I have my dystonia in or how it came on. Doesn't matter. That's completely inconsequential. I will still use the word dystonia because I need to get my point across about the symptom I'm talking about, but we don't need to talk about specifics of it. I mean, there's just so much crap that I recommend doing, but that's like literally a whole other freaking YouTube channel, which I am going to create and start. But like, not for this video. So you can join me there if you care. If you care. If you want to recover. So speaking of caring, believe me, don't believe me. I actually do not care if you do or not. Because the only life I have to live is my own. It doesn't matter to me if you run again or not. Like, it doesn't. It doesn't matter at all to my life. Like, faceless people watching YouTube if you run again or not. Like, sure, maybe some people reach out to me, maybe some people make comments, but like, it doesn't actually really affect my life. But the thing is, this is the part of the reason that I developed Mindbody Syndrome, is it does actually like kill me to know that there are people out there that like don't want to believe, like don't even want to open their mind to like the possibility, yet they're considering doing DBS instead. Like, they won't consider the possibility that your runner's dystonia is caused by basically a psychological disorder and you're gonna go have brain surgery. And for me, knowing that it's a psychological disorder, you're essentially saying that you're gonna do like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Like, if you haven't seen that movie, like, you know what like a full frontal lobotomy is? Like, that's what they used to do to people who had mental illness. They would like remove part of their brain. And we all know what goes on when that happens, or like if you don't, I'm sure you can assume what happens. So people are like, mutilating their brains to like fix a psychological disorder. And that actually really kills me. That really kills me to know. And I could cry over that now. That's the problem. That's like the problem, man. This is why I still keep with this channel, even though like I say I should give it up. Because it's like, anyone with TMS, like the people with back pain who have surgeries, like all this unnecessarily medical treatment for something that can be fixed. I don't even want to use the word fixed. You can cure yourself and the treatment is within you. It's not within other people. And when you take it to the stage of like, I don't care about Botox or medication, like sure, go for it if it helps for sure. But like to the point where you're having brain surgery, like that's the limit for me, man. I mean, hell, do PRI and like physical therapy if you think it helps. Like, but that's at least like, I don't know, man. I've heard too much about DBS recently and people feeling like that's the f***ing cure. It upsets me. I personally don't think that you have anything to lose by just considering that I'm onto something. There's no medication side effects for considering this. There's no like possibility of getting your wrong muscle injected with Botox like I did for considering this. There's certainly not the only 50% chance that DBS is going to work, and if not, you just had a brain surgery that like really sucked and with you. Like there's no side effects to this, dude. There's literally nothing to lose. And I'm not the only person that believes this. There are medical professionals in the mind-body community, many doctors, like many, and therapists and all sorts of other people, down to the coaches, down to the people with lived experience, who will back me up that focal dystonia is a symptom of TMS and can be cured. And I know you only care about the doctors, so there's doctors that say this. And yes, I have met with a doctor, and I was already 6 months into that, and he just confirmed it all. And he's confirmed it for other people, and he's cured people with focal dystonia. So I do not generally share much about my personal life on this channel. In fact, I don't really share much at all, except the fact that I'm like in Michigan, which is probably pretty obvious. But like this was all pretty easy for me to believe. And I just want to like give some credibility to my big rant here. Like I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. Like I'm a medical provider. I'm not just like some random person in Michigan who had runner's dystonia and is believing some like woo-woo shit on the internet. Like this stuff is based in science, and it may not be like 100% mainstream right now, and like we can go into the factors of why it's not 100% mainstream if you want to get into like the medical like insurance industrial complex and just honestly what people are freaking taught in medical school. I went to nursing school. I have a bachelor's and a master's in nursing. Like I have the traditional medical freaking education. Like in some ways, just because I work in psychiatry, like it was really easy for me to accept. And in fact, I told that first movement disorder specialist neurologist that I saw, I think I have conversion disorder. I think I have conversion disorder, which is a psychological issue causing very real physical symptoms, like paging Dr. Freud. It's now called functional neurological disorder, and I probably mentioned it on other videos. And like, whatever, like it doesn't really matter if that's the diagnosis or not. It probably is, because I have like 9 other problems other than runner's dystonia, or did have 9 other problems, I should say. But like, no one was buying that, and that like movement disorder specialist was like, I guess, but the problem is you're so accepting of that diagnosis, and usually people get that diagnosis and they want to like throw it out the window. And I'm like, but I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, man. Like, if this is psychological, I know how to cure myself. Like, I've been working with people with trauma and PTSD since I was like 21 years old. Like, I'm good. I can do that. So yeah, I'm able to look critically at all this and know it to be true. This is based in science. It is based in science. There are studies. I'm going to put the link to one of the societies for this in the description. And here we go. Here's the guy with the leaf blower again. But we're almost done. So speaking of critical, just be critical of what you have learned about this supposed diagnosis. Just consider the freaking possibility it may not be caused by what you think it is caused by. I mean, geez, usually if medical treatments don't work for a medical disorder, it means you're not treating the right cause. Like, I know that as a medical provider. I know that. Isn't runner's dystonia a perfect example of that? The symptoms will fade when you address the real cause of your runner's dystonia, which is a hypersensitive nervous system and brain. This is because of what you have been through, how you have reacted to what you have been through, your personality, the way you deal with emotions and stress, your anger, your fear, your deep sadness, unconscious and conscious. I will spare you more of the Freudian stuff today, but I believe in that too. Unconscious rage and fear, people. It's real. The war between the superego and the id. Okay, I'm almost done. Don't click off yet. We're almost there. If you do not address those things, you will not recover. At least acknowledge your stress level is contributing to your symptoms. At least most people with runner's dystonia buy into that thing, but it's way more than that. It's way more than that. Of course, now it's quiet and beautiful. The birds. Now we're at the end of the video. So I wish I knew all that 2 years ago. If you've made it to the end of this video, then you know the key to recovery. You know the key to recovery. You know the cause behind your runner's dystonia. And you know what? You don't need to 100% believe. You certainly don't need to believe all the Freudian stuff I was saying. You don't need to believe everything that I said in this video. I understand. You need to be ready. You need to be open to it. But just consider the possibility, and just try to maybe start doing a little bit of the TMS work, the emotional work, the work on your intensity. Certainly, if anything, please, dear God, the work on the fear and the focus on the symptoms. If anything, no one ever got any better by being afraid of their symptoms or focusing and talking about their symptoms. Oh, it's so bad. That's literally the worst thing. And you'll start to see the changes little by little. No, couldn't have quiet to end the video. You'll start to see the changes, and you're going to start to see the inconsistency with your symptoms and how it is much more tied to a psychological state than any sort of physical or even neurological state. Your brain is trying to keep you safe. It does not feel safe. It is making these symptoms to get your attention, to slow you down. And listen. When you start to see those little changes, the evidence will just build on itself, and you'll grow more confident that yes, I can recover. Yes, these symptoms are neuroplastic. They're a part of mind-body disorder. The brain can create them, and the brain can take it away. And then your progress will be your proof, just like mine. So I've been sitting here for probably an hour recording this over and over again. Knees bent. Let's see if I can get up. Oh my God. Oh yeah. I'm feeling it. Did 5 miles today. Hooray. It was good. It was good 5 miles on hills. On hills. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. Oh, here we go. Yep. Ah, that feels good. Crack, crack, crack. Man, I'm gonna miss the cemetery. This is gonna be the one thing I really miss. So I'm glad we had a nice video that we did here. My total freaking manifesto rant video. Felt good. Felt good. Been 2 years of this bullshit and 1 year of knowing the truth and just getting it off my chest. God, I hope you look into it for your own sake. I'll live. I'll be fine. But you, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's your decision to make.